There was once a boy, loved by his father, hated by his brothers. A boy whose life would become one of the most painful and most beautiful stories in history. His name was Yusuf, the son of Prophet Yaqub sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One night, Yusuf saw a dream, a strange dream, a dream that would change his life forever. He ran to his father and said, "O my father, indeed I saw 11 stars, and the sun and the moon, I saw them prostrating to me." Yaqub immediately understood. This was no ordinary dream. Allah was showing Yusuf that one day he would be raised to a great position. But Yaqub also knew something else. The brothers of Yusuf were already jealous. So he warned him, "My son, do not tell your brothers about your dream, or they will plot against you." But the jealousy in their hearts had already begun. Yusuf was young, gentle, kind, and his father loved him deeply. But sometimes love can become a test. The brothers of Yusuf said, "Yusuf and his brother are more beloved to our father than we are." They felt forgotten, rejected, and slowly their jealousy turned into hatred. Then one of them said something terrifying: "Kill Yusuf, or throw him somewhere far away, silence." Then another brother said, "No, do not kill him, throw him into the bottom of a well." And so they made their plan. The next day they went to their father. "Let Yusuf come with us." At first Yaqub refused. He feared something bad would happen. But eventually he let Yusuf go. He had no idea it would be the last time he would see his son for years. The moment they were alone, everything changed. The brothers grabbed Yusuf. He cried. He begged. But they showed no mercy. Then they threw him into a dark well. A child, alone, in darkness, surrounded by silence. But Allah did not abandon him. The Qur'an says Allah inspired Yusuf inside the well. "One day, you will remind them of what they did." Then the brothers returned home with Yusuf's shirt covered in fake blood. They lied to their father. A wolf ate him, but Yaqub looked at the shirt. It was not torn. He knew they were lying. And that night, a prophet cried for his son. The next morning, a caravan stopped near the well. They lowered a bucket, and instead of water, they found a boy. Yusuf was pulled from the darkness, but he was not free. The men took him to Egypt and sold him like a slave. A prophet sold for a few coins. In Egypt, Yusuf was bought by a powerful official, the Aziz of Egypt. The man looked at Yusuf and said, "Treat him well. Perhaps he may benefit us." And once again, Allah was preparing Yusuf for something greater. Years passed. Yusuf grew into a man. And Allah gave him beauty, so much beauty, that later women would cut their hands just by looking at him. But beauty can also be a test. The wife of the Aziz desired Yusuf. One day, she locked the doors, and she called him. But Yusuf refused. He said, "I seek refuge in Allah." He ran to the door. She chased him, and his shirt was torn from behind. At that moment, her husband entered. She immediately blamed Yusuf, but a witness from her own family said, "If his shirt is torn from the front, she is truthful. But if it is torn from the back, then she is lying." The shirt was torn from the back. Yusuf was innocent. But the scandal spread across Egypt. The women of Egypt mocked the wife of the Aziz. How could she fall in love with her servant? So she invited them to her palace. She gave each woman a knife and fruit. Then she called Yusuf into the room. When they saw him, they were so shocked by his beauty that they cut their own hands. They said, "This is no human. This is a noble angel." But even then, Yusuf chose Allah over temptation. He made a dua. "My Lord, prison is more beloved to me than what they call me to you." And so, the innocent man was sent to prison. Years passed in prison. But Yusuf never lost faith. Even there, he called people to Allah. 2 men in prison came to Yusuf. Both had seen strange dreams. One dreamt he was making wine, the other dreamt birds were eating bread from his head. Yusuf interpreted the dreams. One man would be freed, the other would die. And exactly as Yusuf said, it happened. Before the first man left, Yusuf said, "Mention me to your king." But the man forgot. And Yusuf remained in prison for years. Then one night, the king of Egypt saw a dream, 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 thin cows, and 7 green ears of corn and 7 dry ones. No one could explain it. Then suddenly, the former prisoner remembered Yusuf. There is a man in prison who can explain dreams. Yusuf explained, Egypt would have 7 years of abundance. Then 7 years of terrible famine. He told the king how to prepare. The king was amazed. He ordered Yusuf to be brought out. But Yusuf refused to leave prison until his innocence was proven. Finally, the women admitted the truth. We know no evil about him. And the wife of the Aziz confessed, I am the one who tried to tempt him. At last, the truth came out. The man once thrown into a well, the man sold as a slave, the man forgotten in prison, was now chosen to save an entire nation. The king placed Yusuf in charge of the treasures of Egypt. And soon, the famine began. People came from everywhere looking for food, including the brothers who had betrayed him, but they did not recognize him. Yusuf looked at them, the same brothers, the same faces, the men who once threw him into darkness, and now they stood before him asking for help. Eventually, Yusuf revealed the truth. I am Yusuf. The brothers were frozen in fear. They expected revenge, punishment, anger. But Yusuf said, There is no blame upon you today. May Allah forgive you. Then he sent his shirt back to his father. When Yaqub placed the shirt over his face, his sight returned. After years of pain, father and son met again, and at that moment, the dream Yusuf saw as a child came true. The sun, the moon, and the 11 stars, they all bowed before him. The story of Yusuf is not just a story about betrayal, it is a story about patience, about trust, about what happens when the entire world turns against you, and you still refuse to leave Allah. Thrown into a well, sold as a slave, locked in prison. Yet every step was leading him exactly where Allah wanted him to be. Sometimes, the darkest moments of your life are only the beginning of something greater. If you want the next episode in this Prophets of Islam series, the story of Ibrahim (Salam) and the fire, subscribe now.